to another episode of Crushing the EPPP. I've got a very special guest today, and that is Dr. Gabe, who passed the EPPP, I think, almost a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
nearly. And so I'm so excited to have her here today to talk about her journey in conquering the EPPP. So thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Fantastic. So first, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? Like, for
Mhm.
example, maybe where you graduated from and what type of work you do now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I graduated from a counseling psychology PhD program from the University of Denver. And then I moved to Chicago, where I did my postdoc at a private practice. And that is where I currently still work as a now a licensed clinician.
Yay, license. Oh, it has something to it, doesn't it?
Amazing to say, even better to feel.
Right, absolutely.
Mhm.
So tell us, what was your EPPP journey like prior to starting coaching with me?
So I was lucky enough to have Dr. Erica as my supervisor, who was able to kind of guide me through the EPPP process. And so this was my first attempt at taking the EPPP, but I was very aware that it is very common for people to have to take it multiple times, and that I it wasn't something I had any knowledge from. I didn't have any resources from my graduate school program. I didn't really have any pamphlets or books or anything from where I was working either. So I was really starting off completely on my own, not sure. And so it was through, you, Dr. Erica, getting to support and help me through the process of even starting by, here are some options for different programs that can help you. Here's how you should go about how you prioritize your time. Here's how you think about studying and organizing and what the timeline should look like. And so before that, I truly knew nothing, just that I wanted to do well. So that's a bit of my journey as far as how I got started.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that because I'm so glad our paths cross. So for those who are watching, I did used to supervise Dr. Gabe in the past, and when they started this journey of like embarking on the EPPP, I was able to also provide these coaching services as well. And so you were fortunate that you just never you don't have any EPPP like battle stories, really.
No, no.
And that makes me so happy because that's ultimately my dream is to intercept and help people
Yeah,
before they ever deal with this so that they start on the right foot.
yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, it was beneficial because I really didn't know at all of like how do you best go about strategizing your time and planning and thinking about what this journey could look like, so that on my first try I was able to kind of pass and go through it. So I think people who are also listening and saying, is this something that could benefit me? I absolutely felt it was instrumental for me being able to pass it. Um, was having that support.
Absolutely. And
Mhm,
what made you give it a chance? Because some people
mhm.
who don't have any previous experience,
Yeah,
they might be like, "Well, I've done well on other tests. What do I need a coach for?" Like,
yeah.
what made you say, "No, I'm gonna give this a try and see what this is all about?"
Yeah, I think that all the other tests I've done throughout kind of, our graduate school work, I had so much support around. And a lot of it was kind of whether that be one-on-one coaching through, professors or other students or peers. Studying for the EPP was such an isolating experience in a way that no other grad school exams really were. And so I think this just felt like, no, I want to be doing this in community. I want someone else to be able to give me some sort of guidance. And so I think that's why I was really drawn to coaching in particular, as that source of support and guidance that even while doing other studying materials, it was still on my own and I was alone.
Absolutely. I mean, we really are out there on this like little island
Mhm.
after we graduate, just trying to figure things out. So being able
Yeah.
to have someone who's been through the process, who knows what it takes to pass this thing and to pass it
Yeah.
easily
Yeah.
is really, really, really helpful. And
Yeah.
to then be spared from
Mhm.
failed attempts and
Yeah.
time, the money and the stress of it all, to be kind of spared by that is a real
Yeah.
gift. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that
Absolutely.
you latched onto it and were able to be spared from all of that. And
Hmm.
so, just to recap again, like, what do you think are some of the standout things that were most helpful about the coaching that you think
Yeah.
ultimately set you up to be able to pass it on your first try?
Yeah. I would say without question, your snowball method absolutely revolutionized and changed my whole approach to studying for the EPPP. I really would not have known where to start if you hadn't given that really specific guidance around, like, okay, based on your first test, here's how we're going to look at this. Here's how we're going to take it apart. Made it really approachable, being able to help me organize. Here's what kind of the schedule should look like. Here's where you should be at this different point. Here's what we should be looking for, when I should start taking my weekly exams, how I want to be going through and checking my answers, the ones I got right, the ones I wasn't sure about, the ones I got wrong. Um, but also just your ability to give me some confidence and some self-compassion while going through this. I mean, that's the part that you don't get when you're going through kind of the written material or online resources. Is a lot of this is it's just a mental game. When you're going into the test, so much of it is just, how do I practice managing my own anxieties? And a lot of that is just someone else being there to say, like, you got this. Like, how are you going to prepare? How are you going to get others in your life to help prepare and support you for this thing you've been working towards? And I think all of that was things were just not given. And I also used PrepJet. Like, just, they're not given in PrepJet. That's just to teach me the material. You taught me how to take the test, which is a very different skill. So I think those are my major standout of why um, did amazing and why I felt so good about the whole experience. And I think others would just so benefit from it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that because,
Mm,
you know, everything you said just makes sense that like you're doing this by yourself. You
yeah.
don't know where to start. I
Hmm.
mean, you really don't know what to do. And that's why when I first started studying, the first couple times I tried to start, I cried in the fetal position. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just terrible because I didn't have anyone walking me through it. So you
Hmm.
heard Dr. Gay mention things about how I help people get their families on board and how to
Hmm.
get organized and make a schedule. And there's this
Hmm.
Snowball Study Method that I talk about,
Yeah.
which is all in the audio program called
Hmm.
the Master Plan,
Yeah.
which really just walks you through all of that. And of course, if
Hmm.
you want that one on one extra support, that's where meeting with me one on one comes in.
Hmm.
But it really is the whole thing. It's not just about how to actually study, although that is a huge part of it, but it's also about how do we get the rest of our life on board and
Yeah.
ultimately how do we get our mind
Hmm.
working with us and for us.
Yeah.
And that
Absolutely.
is so key, the mindset.
Hmm.
So often people come to me and they really want to know, how do I study? How do I study? And that is super important. But who we're being while we're studying and how
Yeah.
we manage that voice in the back of our head
Hmm.
and work through those anxieties is probably 80% of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think I just remembered there was a tip you gave me that, to be honest, I even give it to clients and other people I work with who are studying for a variety of different things. But it was the part about making the schedule to, like, honor it so that I knew when I could really take off and have fun and enjoy my life again. Because otherwise it feels like it was all consuming. Like, I have to be studying all the time. And once you really helped me hone my schedule, I was able to say, okay, this is when I'm working and this is when I'm off. And that felt so good and important just for my own mental health and my ability to relax and take care of myself while going through that process.
Absolutely. Because if you're
Hmm.
doing this correctly, it should take a few months to
Yeah.
prepare.
Hmm.
And that is a long time after several years of grinding to keep operating at a really unhealthy, unbalanced
Yeah.
state.
Hmm.
So you have been out of this EPPP world
Hmm.
for over a year now.
Yeah.
You've been living your best life as a licensed psychologist.
Hmm.
Makes me so happy to say. What are some things that you've been able to do in your life, both professionally as well as personally, big stuff and little stuff, now that you are done with the EPPP and never have to think about it again?
Hmm. I would say number one most exciting thing that I now get to do since I am licensed is I get to supervise and provide that same type of clinical support that I was given now to other people, which is so fun. And so professionally, that just feels really good and it feels very freeing. Um, Personally, especially after getting to no longer be studying and to be licensed, is to enjoy my life again, to be reading for fun, for getting to engage in my hobbies, spending time with my family and my friends, getting to be outside. Um, the process for studying for this was just so brutal and it's just really hard, and getting to reach that finish line and celebrate and just feel that sense of accomplishment absolutely makes it worth it. But it definitely is, it's a hard process, and it is nice to get to then be licensed and kind of enjoy my professional and personal life in the way that feels most fulfilling.
I love it. I love all of it. Keep reading, keep having fun, keep spending time with the people you love. And
Mhm.
I wish you nothing but just continued joy and freedom.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Eric. I so appreciate it.
You're so welcome.